Yeah, so Danfoss Autonomy is really made up of three parts. So the first thing is our services business. So we can work with an OEM to not just leverage all of the components that Danfoss has made historically, the hydraulics, the electronics, the plus one guide system, but also to leverage in now all of our autonomous software and our autonomous capabilities, as well as a lot of our partner products. And so our services team comes in, sits down with the OEM early in the design phase, and can really help them build out the vehicle. And we can even take the vehicle into our ADCs like what you see around us and do the initial work here to make it even less cumbersome on our customers as they go through, and then send it back to their sites for testing in their environments. The next part is really our software tools, right? So our plus one autonomous control library, that team has been working really, really hard to build tools that are robust and able to be used in our markets and able to be used by our distribution teams, which is really, I think, a game changer across the industry in how those tools can be used and leveraged in the market. And the last piece is our electronics that are really designed toward autonomy or higher processing power. And those electronics, the first generation being the XM100 and then future iterations to come, but those are really made to start handling these higher power sensors and higher power products that our software tools are based on, and then combining that all together, our services team then works with. So Danfoss Autonomy is really a combination of those services, the software tools, and the hardware, bringing it all together and providing the best solution for the customer. The thing that really drives the uniqueness of Danfoss Autonomy is everything and all the resources that we can bring to bear compared to any startup or any even internal team. So not only do we have our own team and the ACEs being able to be kind of the lead point on the services side, but we can leverage our entire software organization, which is over 300 software developers that focus on just control system software, let alone the team that we've already built for the autonomy software. We can leverage our organizations that work on steer-by-wire, or our organizations that work on propel systems, and that institutional knowledge that Danfoss has built up with over 90 years in the industry to really leverage a holistic autonomous vehicle and not just try and do a bolt-on kit on top of something else. So I think Danfoss, the autonomy team in and of itself is differentiated because of the offerings that we have and the services team that we have, but just then working with the rest of Danfoss really leverages that whole expertise for a machine manufacturer to build the best possible vehicle and get to market and to production as quickly as possible. So autonomy solves really three, we'd say, kind of core challenges for our customers in the agriculture, ground support, and construction industries. The first problem is really a lack of labor. And so there's just not enough people in a lot of these industries to do the work that needs to get done to feed the world, to continue with the urbanization and a lot of the other major global megatrends that are driving these needs. The next thing is really a lack of experienced labor. Even the people that we can find in these industries, they just don't have the experience to operate the machines, which leads to a lot of rework and having to do poor quality work that then needs to get redone, costing contractors and harvesters a lot of extra cost, but also a lot of extra time. And finally, really safety. So lack of experience or not being able to find the people it really drives for equipment accidents. And so we've seen in some industries that, just imagine taking a flight or flying on an airplane, you get a delay because the ramp truck bumps into the airplane and causes, mainly meaningless damage, but there's inspections that need to happen, and you can delay up to 2-3 hours on a flight for something as simple as that. And so really we're looking to solve that kind of equipment damage, lack of experienced labor, and overall a lack of labor problem across the whole market. And that's what autonomy really provides to the market. For the end user, really, a lot of the topics we've talked about are safety, productivity, and precision. And the combination of those three things really can drive value to any industry and really can help to solve some of the major issues that any industry is having. So the ACES team is our services team, and they're the newest team within Danfoss, and they really do bring that kind of services need to life. So they'll sit down with the OEM or the machine manufacturer at the very earliest stage, and they'll sit down and start to understand what are the needs, what does this vehicle need to do, how do we move it into proof of concept, and how do we move it to production. They'll look at the software needs for the use case, but they'll also look at what then hardware do we need to bring in, and how do we mix not just Danfoss hardware and all those things that we've offered, but mix that with our top tier software tools, and then mix that with our partners that provide the things that Danfoss doesn't make. And the ACEs will then mix them together, and then you can also send your vehicle to the ADC, to this very facility around us, And the ACES team can then work on the vehicle, get the proof of concept up and running, and be able to bring it back to the customer site for testing in their environment. So the ACES team is really kind of a full service team when it comes to autonomy.